it's Hailey, and today I'm going to be talking about my March TBR. So I know I say this every single TBR video that I do, but when did it become March? What? I didn't really realize until last week, which was the last week of February when I'm filming this, that I didn't read any of the historical fiction that I had wanted to in winter, and winter is essentially over. I'm wearing a very springy top. It's snowing outside because Canada, but like we are supposed to suddenly warm up, so I think we might actually get like a timely spring, even though sometimes it's snowing up until April or even into April. But it seems like this year we're gonna get an early spring, which is great, but it also sucks because I didn't get to any historical fiction, and I don't even really have any on my TBR because I'm working my way out of my infamous reading slump of 2018, and I feel like I'm nearing the end, so I want to keep on going and keep on trucking through this and getting out of it. So this TBR is really stuff that I would like to read, and it's what I'm thinking I'm going to go to, but I'm not putting any pressure on myself to read any of these. This is just where I feel like my reading might progress, but what's really been working for me is one, DNFing books, and two, listening to what I want to read. So not picking up something because I feel like I have to and forcing myself to, just reading whatever I'm in the mood for, because I'm a mood reader, so forcing myself to read something that I'm not in the mindset for, it's just not gonna go well. So I have contemporary here, I've got some fun fantasies, I have a couple of books that Hannah keeps on recommending to me and won't stop talking about, so I definitely need to read those, and then I have a couple of historical fiction sort of fantasies because I feel like I should at least try to get to a couple of those since I didn't get to any. But I'm pretty optimistic for this upcoming month because I'm taking a break from writing, so I have the month just to try and get back into reading, and it's March 4th when I'm filming this, and I've already finished 2 books, so I'm so happy about that, and I'm hoping that I can continue that trend and get a lot of reading done this month. So I just finished a book an hour before filming this video. I was reading it while I was doing my makeup, and then I was done my makeup and I was just sitting on my bathroom floor, and I sat there until I finished it. I was sitting on my bathroom floor for like 30 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever, just because I had to finish the book. So I did end up finishing that, and I haven't gotten the chance to pick anything up yet because I've been filming, but I think what I'm going to pick up is On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. I've been reading quite a bit of contemporary, even though I have mostly fantasy on my TBR. I want to get to the contemporary that I have because that's what's been really helping me out of my slump. So On the Come Up is Angie Thomas's next novel. She's the author of The Hate U Give, and I thoroughly enjoyed that novel. I think it's such an important book, so I'm so excited to see what she has next. I've heard some great things about Bree and about her story, and I know that this deals with rapping, which sounds just so cool to me, so I'm so excited to read this. And even though I feel like contemporaries are so long now, like this one's like 450 pages, and so was the last one that I read, but they're still really quick reads, so I'm feeling like I should be able to get through this one really quickly. So I'll just show you the other 2 contemporaries that I have on my TBR for the month. So next is Like a Love Story by Abdi Nazemian. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but this is coming out on June 4th, so thank you very much to Furious Reads for sending me this arc. I'm so excited to read this story. It is described as a love letter to the LGBTQ+ community. That just sounds so great. I do have to go for a moment though, because I think Jackson just opened the front door. He did indeed open the front door. I don't know where he thought he was going. Did you have an appointment? Anyways, this book is set in New York City in 1989, and it deals with 3 main characters. So there's Riza, who is an Iranian boy who has just moved to the city, and then there's Judy, who is an aspiring fashion designer who worships her uncle Stephen, who is a gay man living with AIDS and is very involved in activism. And finally, there's Judy's best friend Art, who is the only out and proud teen at his high school. If I'm remembering correctly from the Frenzy Presents event that I went to, the author of this book is actually one of the co-writers, or he worked on the screenplay for Call Me By Your Name, which I never read or saw the movie, but I heard some amazing things about it, and I'm so excited for this book. If it is anything like it sounds like, I think I'm really going to enjoy it. Next is Love à la Mode by Stephanie Kate Strohm. This is about 2 teens who are both in this cooking competition in Paris, and it just sounds like the recipe, yes, that was intentional, for an adorable romance. So I feel like it's gonna be a quick, really fun romantic read, and I just read read With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo, and that book dealt with cooking as a central topic of it, and I really enjoyed it, so it just made me have a craving for this one. Do you see the food pun? Yeah! Next is Enchantée by Gita Trelease. This is taking the French Revolution and adding magic to it. So it is, I believe, set in the court of Marie Antoinette, and I just feel like that seems like such an interesting place to be. The French Revolution is another thing that fascinates me. I'm a bit of a history geek. I find that stuff really interesting, so that's why I love historical fiction so much. And when you add a little bit of magic to it, that's just awesome. So I haven't really seen many reviews for this book, but I love the cover so much, and I'm excited to read a book that is set at the time of the French Revolution because I don't believe I actually have read any. Next, I have a couple of books that Hannah from A Clockwork Reader has been shouting from the rooftops about. She has been talking to me and Zoe from ReadbyZoe about them so much and just wants us to read them so badly, so I feel like I just need to do this for her. So first is Graceling by Kristin Cashore. This is obviously not a new fantasy, and neither of the books are really, but this one in particular I believe is quite a few years old, but it's one that's intrigued me, and I was going to unhaul it, but thankfully I hadn't fully unhauled it. It was just out in my garage, and I went and I got it, and now I am going to read it to satisfy her. So I honestly don't really know what Graceling is about at all. I just know that Hannah has been talking about it so much, and it's an older popular fantasy series, so hopefully I'll like it as much as she does, or else I'll feel very bad. And the other book is one that I'm actually currently listening to the audiobook for, and that is The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. Unfortunately, this one I did fully unhaul. I had started trying to physically read it, and I never really got into it, and then I just never thought to pick up the audiobook for whatever reason, but I'm really enjoying the audiobook. Hannah described it as being like The Diviners and Six of Crows and A Darker Shade of Magic, and A Darker Shade of Magic I don't really remember, but it's definitely a lot like The Diviners, and I totally see the Six of Crows vibes there, so it's a really great combination of those novels, and it's still its own unique fantasy world, so I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of like a historical fantasy because it's set in New York, but there's also time travel. There are so many elements to it that make it a really cool read, so I'm enjoying it a lot, and I'm glad that she did recommend it to me. I am sad that I unhauled it though, but oh well, what can you do? Finally, I have a few fun fantasies. So I don't obviously know if they're fun just based on the authors for one, and then just the description for the other two. They sound like they're gonna be fun, quick reads because fantasy has been the genre I've been struggling with the most recently because I feel like there are so many of them that are just the same, and I was just reading so much of it and not really taking any breaks in between. I wasn't really balancing my reading, and I would force myself to go through these fantasy worlds that I wasn't really even that much into, so I'm trying to rekindle the romance that I had with fantasy and fall in love with it again. So I'm fine with The Last Magician because I'm listening to it on audiobook, and that's really been the way of that I've been reading fantasies for the past, I would say, few months even. I've just been listening to the audiobooks for them because physically reading them, I just am having a lot of trouble getting into them. So I was going to pick up Graceling last month, but I didn't because I felt like I wasn't ready yet. I didn't want to ruin the good thing that I had going with reading my contemporaries, so I didn't pick it up yet, but I'm slowly trying to work my way up to this, so that's why I have these fun fantasies here. So first is A Dress for the Wicked by Autumn Krause. This was once again sent to me by HarperCollins Frenzy, so thank you so much to them. This is coming out on August 6th, so there's actually quite a bit of time until it comes out, but they were describing it as like Project Runway, and that just sounded so cool to me. There's actually two books that have been described like that recently, and both of them I'm so excited for. So there's like this design competition where they have to design these dresses. Like that just sounds like a lot of fun and a fantastical read that's also fun at the same time, and dressmaking, pretty dresses. I love that stuff, so I think I will probably like this, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Next is another one from HarperCollins Frenzy, and that is The Beholder by Anna Bright. This sounds like it's gonna be like a guilty pleasure read, kind of like The Bachelor or like the Selection series. is like the main character is going on this grand tour of Europe and trying to find someone that she can be engaged to, trying to find a betrothed, and that's basically when she's allowed to come back, is if she gets engaged to someone. But will she fall in love with all of the men she meets? Will she fall in love with none of them? Maybe it's man and woman. I don't know. Either way, I feel like there's gonna be some like steamy, swoony romance, which is so helpful for getting out of a slump. So that's what I'm hoping for here. So I feel like this one will probably be the first fantasy that I try to pick up because it's an entirely new universe, but I think romance is going to be the focus of it. So that should be an easy read in theory, at least. And finally is Warrior of the Wild by Tricia Levenseller. Tricia Levenseller is the author of the Daughter of the Pirate King duology, and those have a steamy, swoony romance in them, and I really enjoyed them. It's like that hate to love sort of thing, and I like that a lot, so I'm kind of hoping I'll get something similar in here. But even romance aside, this sounds like such a cool concept because it's about like these people who have to hunt gods and kill a god to reign supreme. I don't fully remember the synopsis, but I just want to go into it and read it. I don't like reading synopsises, and I used to still read them and like refresh my memory because in TBRs, a lot of you guys would get mad at me for not giving you a full synopsis, but I think that reading the synopsis ahead of time didn't help with my slump, so I'm gonna try and get back to my roots of not doing that. I'm sorry if you hate it. It is what it is. So those are all of the books that are on my TBR for March. I'm hoping that I'll be able to get to some of these because I feel like they are going to be some books that will help me get out of my reading slump. Fingers crossed we will continue and finally make our way out where we're really excited about reading again, because I am really excited about reading right now and I just want to keep that trend going. So please let me know if you have read any of these books, your thoughts on them, as well as what is on your March TBR, because I would love to know. Maybe you have some of the same books as me. I don't know, we could read them together. Oh, I forgot one! I'm also reading Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid because Bookmarked now has a book club in addition to our weekly discussion live shows. So our first pick is Daisy Jones and the Six, which is by the author of Evelyn Hugo, and I'm very interested in it. I think it deals with like bands and it's in the 60s or the 70s or something. I don't know. Hannah and Zoe were just like, yeah, Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I was like, I liked Evelyn Hugo, so sure. So we're gonna read that and we're gonna have a live show at the end of the month. I believe we're doing it on March 31st and it will be on Zoe's channel. We're not sure about time yet, but you can follow the Bookmarked Twitter page or the Bookmarked Instagram, both of them, whatever you want to do. Just follow one of them and there you will get information. Or if you tune into our weekly live shows, which are held every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can get information there as well. So I'm happy I didn't forget that, but don't forget to click that subscribe button and then that bell icon so you'll be notified whenever I post. I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can also follow me on all of my social media. All of my handles and links and all that stuff will be down below for you guys. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!